Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at the 2017 adaptation of It, based on the Stephen King novel previously made into a miniseries in 1990. On a pedantic note, this isn't a remake of that miniseries, which you can watch me cover in a previous Kill Count here. Instead, this is a different adaptation of the same source material, King's massive 1,100-page tome, which I still haven't read yet. This new telling takes place in the late 1980s, giving it a sort of R-rated Stranger Things feel. The basic story is the same as ever. A bunch of kids in the small town of Derry, Maine are haunted by an evil entity who most frequently takes the form of Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Whereas Tim Curry performed the role in the miniseries as a twisted but mostly human-seeming clown, Bill Skarsgård's take on the character is completely new and helped make this movie one of the highest-grossing R-rated films of all time. Skarsgård, who should maybe be called Scaresgard after this, plays Pennywise as a totally alien being who happens to be wearing a clown costume, and has a damn fun time doing it. The cast of mostly unknown kids is also impressive as hell, as is the cinematography, the music, and just how damn funny the movie is. People are pretty divided when it comes to opinions on how scary it is, but I'm not here to rate terror, I'm here to count kills, so let's get to them. The movie begins on a rainy day in Derry, Maine. It's 1988 and Bill Denborough is too sick to go outside with his little brother Georgie, so the best he can do is wax up a paper boat for him and wish him luck on his voyage. Oh boy, that's a cute kid. Move over, Andy Barkley, you've got some competition here. Georgie casts off and it's a real rollicking good time until he thwacks his dome on a friggin' road sign. He gets back up just fine though. Man, little kids can bounce back from anything. The boat gets away from him and goes down the gutter, and when Georgie leans in to look for it, he runs into your average run-of-the-mill sewer clown. The clown asks Georgie if he wants all sorts of fun circus stuff, but Georgie says he can't talk to strangers.
Oh, well, I'm Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Pennywise, meet Georgie. Georgie, meet Pennywise. Now we aren't strangers.
Who knew nabbing a kid was as simple as making a formal introduction? But anyone who's anyone knows Pennywise isn't trying to nab kids, he's trying to snack on them. So after he offers Georgie his boat back and the cute kid goes to grab at it, Pennywise sinks his teeth in. He bites off Georgie's arm, which fans of the miniseries had only heard about. But here we straight up see it as Georgie fruitlessly tries to crawl away before being dragged back down into the sewer for the film's infamous opening kill. Then it's 8 months later, and it's time to meet our cast of kids. We briefly check in with Mike Hamlin as he hesitates to kill a sheep on his granddad's abattoir. Here's an animal kill warning, cause granddad trying to make a living, and he ain't got time for being wishy-washy on the bolt gun. He tells Mike there are two types of people in this world, the people with the bolt guns and the sheep who get got. Which one you gonna be, Mike? It's the last day of school, and Bill and his fellow Goyim, Eddie Kasprak and Richie Tozier, question their Jewish friend Stan Uris about what his upcoming bar mitzvah means exactly. Richie, the jokester of the group, has a very late-night stand-up understanding of the process.
Yeah, and I think the rabbi's gonna pull down your pants. Turn to the crowd and say, "Where's the meat?"
Sure, Richie's probably tiresome to be around all the time, but at least these boys have friends, unlike Beverly Marsh, who gets bullied and called a slut by some mean girls in the bathroom. Then they dump a bunch of bathroom trash water on her head and call it a school year. Happy summer vacay! On her way out, Bev runs into another friendless loser, the new kid in school, portly Ben Hanscom. He shows off an expert-level display of clumsiness with a great physical comedy bit. The two of them bond over Ben's music, New Kids on the Block, and she becomes the first and only kid to sign his yearbook, kicking off a real serious crush. Aw, Ben's so cute. Bill and his bros make plans for the summer, Bill pushing hard for them to hang out at the Barrens. As they watch the mom of a missing girl, Betty Ripsum, wait in vain to see if her kid will come out of the school.
As if Betty Ripsom's been hiding at home after the last few weeks.
Before they're even able to leave the school grounds, they get harassed by Joe Dirt Jr., Henry Bowers. Bill stutters out an attack,
Suck, Bowers!
and Henry gets all up in his face, threatening that his free pass due to the Georgie thing is over. The bullying only ends when Henry gets a stern look from his dad, Police Officer Butch Bowers. I bet they have a real nice father-son relationship. I'm just kidding. Literally no one in this story has a healthy relationship with their parents. Case in point, when Bill gets home, his dad's all pissed at him for recreating the Derry sewer system with hamster tubes in an attempt to figure out where Georgie might be. Bill's test says the Barrens. Papa Denborough is less optimistic about his younger son.
He's gone! He's dead!
And he rips down the map of Derry instead of being real proud of Bill for that kind of ingenuity. Get that kid in some civil engineering classes. Bill and Richie stop by Eddie's house to gear up for their sewer fun times, but on their way out, Eddie's mom harangues them and tells Eddie to be mindful of his allergies. She even makes him give her a kiss goodbye. Aw, Mom!
Do you want one for me too, Mrs. K?
Good one, Richie. But let's take a break from your class clown stuff and get back to some scary clown stuff. As Mike is delivering his dead lamb packages, he has a vision at the back door of the butcher shop where charred hands try to escape from behind it as fire and smoke billow out. That vision ends when the door flies open to reveal a prime cut of Pennywise dangling in the back there. We only get some spooky light up eyes before this vision ends, and Mike has to deal with the more everyday scary stuff that is racism.
Get the fuck out of my town!
At the synagogue, Stan is practicing for his puberty party when his dad gives him grief for not being better at speaking Hebrew. He goes to put his Torah away, shielding himself from the creepy painting in the office, but then while his back is turned, it falls on the ground. When he hangs it back up, the lady in the picture is gone, and she emerges from the shadows looking like Kikia, that Flash animation screamer from like 2002. She gives him a sharp, toothy grin, and he's like, no thanks, do not want. Meanwhile, Ben is hanging out in the library, writing a poem for Beverly about January Embers, a great indie band name if you ever learn how to play an instrument, kid. I'm thinking keyboard. He's also continuing some personal research into Derry's history, and today's topic is an Easter egg hunt explosion that left a head in a tree. But that image is only the beginning of Ben Hanscom's spooky times. He follows a red balloon to the back of the library where he finds a trail of smoking Easter eggs. These lead him to the library archives, an inherently creepy place, and made worse when a smoking headless body comes down the steps and charges at him in a jerky way. There's been a lot of criticism of the jerky CG style some of these scares use, and I think that's fair since it's used over and over in the movie. But they don't really bother me too much, even when Pennywise shows up and does the same thing. Ben gets out of there just in time to run headlong into some bullies. Joe Dirt and his motley crew take Ben to an exit of a Friday the 13th the game map, and the whole gang's here for the party. You've got punk rock Draco Malfoy, Pyro Kylo Ren, and Belch. Yep, he's still belching around. Although sadly, that's the only belch in this movie. Ben tries to signal for help from a car driving by, but they just trying to win the round, Ben. Sorry, I think it was the two-seater anyway. Henry threatens to carve his name into Ben's stomach, and unlike in the miniseries, he actually starts to do it. Ben kicks him and drops backwards down the hill, and after Henry hops the fence to follow Ben in his hot rod hill tumble, he loses his knife, which apparently belongs to his dad. He sends Belch and Patrick to go after Ben, while he and Vic look for his blade. As Ben runs for his life, Bill and the others are considering going into a sewer pipe. It's another scene that's great at capturing how young teenage boys really act with their friends, with Richie continuing to be a little shit to the hypochondriac Eddie, who's worried about how unsanitary this adventure is.
Have you ever heard of a staph infection?
Also, a staph infection.
Bill finds a shoe in the water. Where's the foot? And a name inside confirms that it's Betty Ripson's. That steals Bill, who says we need to go deeper, arguing that if he were Betty, he'd want to be found. But Eddie and Stan both express some trepidation.
It's summer. We're supposed to be having fun. This isn't fun.
Before this council can come to a decision, Ben wades his way into the discussion and they pause everything to help him out. Patrick's still looking for Ben when he decides to go into another sewer entrance. Do sewer systems really have these big old openings all over the place? He creeps deeper and deeper, lighting his way with his makeshift flamethrower until he runs into a bunch of dead zombie kids that call after him by name. He tries to escape but runs into steel bars, and with his back against them, a balloon floats up to him. When it pops, it reveals Pennywise, who CG jerks his way towards the camera to kill Patrick Hochstetter. And just so you know, Patrick isn't in the 1990 miniseries, except maybe as one of the unnamed greasers during the rock fight. The kids head to the pharmacy to get some medical supplies for Ben, and Beverly is also there in the midst of transitioning to adulthood. They run into each other, and when Bill mentions they don't have enough money for the stuff they need, Bev does them a solid by flirting with the pharmacist to distract him for a while. Dude is grossly receptive to it.
Well, how about that? You look just like Lois Lane.
Oh, the disgusting gambit pays off and the kids are able to shoplift the supplies they need to stitch up Ben in the alleyway. Bill is standing lookout when Bev walks up to him in slow motion. Ooh, he liked Bev. She goes to check out the back alley operation, and after a cute New Kids on the Block reference to Ben, Bill invites her to hang out with them at the quarry the next day, which sounds good to her. A rock quarry may not sound like much fun, but it's gotta be better than Bev's home life, where creepy fucking dad Alvin Marsh smells and fondles her hair after seeing what she's purchased.
Tell me you're still my little girl.
Yes, Daddy.
In response to her dad's gross-ass overtures, she cuts off all her hair in the bathroom. Probably shouldn't be putting that much hair down the drain, but you know what, Bev? Never mind. That's a problem for asshole Al to deal with now. You rock that, Bob girl. It's quarry time, which means watching a bunch of kids hawk loogies in their underwear. Bev arrives and joins them, then shows them all up by being the first to take a running leap into the water below.
What the fuck?
You gotta say, all these kids, braver than me, because I don't know if I'd do that jump now or then. They have fun time splash around, get creeped out by a turtle brushing by their legs, and awkwardly stare at Bev while she's lying out in the sun. Then Richie gets nosy and finds Ben's macabre newspaper clippings, including one on the Black Spot, a nightclub for black people burned down by a racist cult in 1962. Ben explains how in Derry, people disappear and die 6 times the national average.
And that's just grown-ups. Kids are worse. Way worse.
He invites them back to his house, and after a quick little cleanup with a Chris Farley-esque finish, he shows them his frickin' Homeland walls, where he's cataloged disturbing occurrences in Derry stretching back all the way to its founding.
Derry started as a beaver trapping camp.
Still is, am I right, boys?
In maybe the funniest moment of this hilarious movie, Bev also finds a New Kids on the Block poster behind Ben's door, but he pleads with his eyes for her to keep it secret, and she's a nice gal, so she does. Ben points out that a lot of the town's tragedies are connected to the old well house, but he's not sure where the well house is anymore. I'll give you a spoiler, that shit's on Nebolt Street, as Eddie is about to find out while walking home past the old creepy abandoned house on the corner there. It freaks him out so much that he drops all his pills, but luckily there's a friendly leper there to help him pick him back up. The leper is played by phenomenal creature actor Javier Botet, who was in Wreck and Mama, and who you'll shortly be able to see as Slender Man. He chases Eddie around the yard until he's replaced by Pennywise, the tourism director for Nebolt House.
If you lived here, you'd be home by now.
He disappears with a bunch of balloon pops, and Eddie crawls away, his underwear surely 1 shit ton heavier. When she gets home, Bev finds a postcard has been slipped into her backpack, with Ben's poem on the back, although she doesn't know who it's from yet. Looks like like she's into it though. Then her sink starts talking at her and telling her there's a bunch of kids down there. Sounds like a crazy conspiracy to me, but Bev sticks a tape measure down there to see just how deep it goes. Pretty goddamn deep. Where's the bend in that sink? When she pulls the tape measure back out, it's got blood and hair on it, and the hair starts attacking her, wrapping around her limbs and head and pulling her towards the drain. Then the whole thing erupts in a geyser of blood that coats the entire bathroom. What is this, a Sam Raimi flick? When Al comes in and asks about all the yelling, he doesn't see the blood at all. Let's keep these haunted house scares coming with Bill, who's chilling in Georgie's old room with a Lego turtle when he sees a raincoat-clad figure running around in his house. He follows it to the basement where Georgie emerges from the corner to apologize for losing Bill's boat. Yo, kid, it was a friggin' piece of paper. Don't worry about it. Georgie invites Bill to come with him and advertises the benefits, namely that he'll float too.
You'll float too. You'll float too.
Aw, fuck, that's not Georgie. That's Pennywise and his famous Georgie hand puppet. So lifelike. One jerky CG charge later and Bill nopes the fuck out of there, leaving Pennywise behind to slither away in retreat. Bev has the boys over, and as Richie stands watch outside, she shows them her bloody bathroom. They can see the blood, proving that she's not Crazy Town Banana Pants, and with a montage set to the cure, they help her clean it all up. Ben's still carrying a torch for Bev, but it looks like she's more into Bill, even assuming it was him who wrote the poem. But when she brings it up, he doesn't know what she's talking about.
January Embers?
I don't really know much poetry.
The other kids begin to finally share their terrifying clown visions with each other, although Richie, the only one who hasn't had first-hand experience, remains in disbelief.
Wait, can only virgins see this stuff? Is that why I'm not seeing this shit?
They hear shouting and see Mike's bike on the side of the road next to Belch's car, and sure enough, the bullies have Mike on the ground and are trying to make him eat raw meat. And if that weren't bad enough, Mike also sees Pennywise waving to him from the bushes. Hiya, Mikey. Before Bowers can smash Mike's head in, he gets hit in the head with a rock thrown by Bev. An all-out fucking rock war breaks out, complete with metal music and some slow-motion Belch yelling, and goddamn, can kids seriously take this many rocks to the head and not wind up with internal brain bleeding? Man, kids can bounce back from anything. The losers end up winning the skirmish and leave Henry behind in a bloody heap. As part of their victory parade, they induct Mike into their little gang.
Welcome to the Losers Club!
As they hang out together and look at a poster of a new missing kid, they start to develop a thesis on Derry. Every 27 years, some bad event happens in town, like the Easter explosion, the Black Spot fire, and the recent rash of missing kids. The visions they're seeing are the things they fear most, like a diseased leper for Eddie or the woman in the painting for Stan.
She hot?
No, Richie. She's not hot.
Mike reveals his vision, the charred hands behind the burning door, comes from a real-life experience. His parents were burned alive inside a building during a case of arson, and he was there to see it. And when asked what he's afraid of, Richie admits that it's clowns. I've got some bad news for you, kid. They go to Bill's garage and project a map of Derry and its sewer system on the wall, and notice that every location with a tragic history behind it is connected by the sewers, which all meet up at the well house. And that well house?
It's in the house on Nebold Street.
AKA Nebold House. Eddie freaks out and tries to abort this whole thing.
This is summer. We're kids.
He tears down the map, but then the projector takes on a life of its own, and we get a series of spooky images. First, a reminder of Bill's dead little bro, and an image of his mom turning into Pennywise, and then best of all, a giant-ass fucking Pennywise coming out of that screen. Dear God, that is one big-ass clown! They end the nightmare by opening the garage door, and Bill immediately wants to go to Nebold Street to find Georgie. The others aren't as eager.
Yeah, it's summer. We should be outside.
If you say it's summer one more fucking time.
Bill goes there anyway, and the others all follow, because friendship is a hell of a drug. Bill delivers a stutterless speech about forgotten kids and how people can't just keep forgetting them, so the gang resolves to go inside. Except Stan raises the point that maybe they should have a lookout.
Who wants to stay out here?
And that's where we'll end part 1. This is a 2.5 hour long movie, and I don't want to leave a bunch of stuff out, so you'll get the thrilling conclusion, including the numbers, tomorrow when I release part 2. Until then, I'm James A. Janice, and this has been like half a kill count. Thanks a lot for watching my kill count for It 2017, the first part. I want to thank a couple of my patrons like Elliot Rivera and Kodiak Sachs. This is Chelsea, my girlfriend's Pennywise costume that she made by hand from scratch. You can see her wearing it and me wearing Tim Curry's Pennywise costume in our Halloween video right here. Sorry to break this up into 2 parts, but I just wanted to fit as much of this movie into a video as I could. Don't worry, you'll get part 2 tomorrow. I'll see you then.